The PlayStation 3 is a home video game console produced by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is the successor to PlayStation 2, as part of the PlayStation series. It competes with Microsoft's Xbox 360 and Nintendo's Wii as part of the seventh generation of video game consoles. It was first released on November 11, 2006, in Japan, with international markets following shortly thereafter. The console was first officially announced at the Electronic Entertainment Expo 2005, and was released at the end of 2006. It was the first console to use Blu-ray disc as its primary storage medium. Major features of the console include its unified online gaming service, PlayStation Network, and its connectivity with PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita. In September 2009, the updated PlayStation 3 Slim was released. This Slim is lighter and thinner than the original version, which notably featured a redesigned logo and marketing design. A further refined Super Slim design was released in late 2012. As of November 2, 2013, PlayStation 3 has sold 80 million units worldwide. Its successor, the PlayStation 4, was released on November 15, 2013, in North America and in Europe on November 29, 2013. The PlayStation Now service can be used to stream a selection of PlayStation 3 games on devices including the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and even the PlayStation 3 itself. On September 29, 2015, Sony confirmed that it had discontinued production of the PlayStation 3 in New Zealand. History. Sony officially unveiled PlayStation 3 to the public on May 16, 2005, at the E3 2005 conference, along with the boomerang-shaped prototype design of the 6-axis controller. A functional version of the system was not present there, nor at the Tokyo Game Show in September 2005, although demonstrations were held at both events on software development kits and comparable personal computer hardware. Video footage based on the predicted PlayStation 3 specifications was also shown. The initial prototype shown in May 2005 featured 2 HDMI ports, 3 Ethernet ports and 6 USB ports. However, when the system was shown again a year later at E3 2006, these were reduced to 1 HDMI port, 1 Ethernet port and 4 USB ports, presumably to cut costs. 2 hardware configurations were also announced for the console: a 20GB model and a 60GB model, priced at $499 and $599, respectively. The 60GB model was to be the only configuration to feature an HDMI port, Wi-Fi internet, flashcard readers and a chrome trim with the logo in silver. Both models were announced for a simultaneous worldwide release, November 11, 2006, for Japan and November 17, 2006, for North America and Europe. On September 6, 2006, Sony announced that PAL region PlayStation 3 launch would be delayed until March 2007. Because of a shortage of materials used in the Blu-ray drive. At the Tokyo Game Show on September 22, 2006, Sony announced that it would include an HDMI port on the 20GB system, but a chrome trim, flashcard readers, silver logo and Wi-Fi would not be included. Also, the launch price of the Japanese 20GB model was reduced by over 20%, and the 60GB model was announced for an open pricing scheme in Japan. During the event, Sony showed 27 playable PS3 games running on final hardware. Launch PlayStation 3 was first released in Japan on November 11, 2006, at 700. According to Media Create, 81,639 PS3 systems were sold within 24 hours of its introduction in Japan. Soon after its release in Japan, PS3 was released in North America on November 17, 2006. Reports of violence surrounded the release of PS3. The console was originally planned for a global release through November, but at the start of September the release in Europe and the rest of the world was delayed until March. With it being a somewhat last-minute delay, some companies had taken deposits for pre-orders, at which Sony informed customers that they were eligible for full refunds or could continue the pre-order. On January 24, 2007, Sony announced that PlayStation 3 would go on sale on March 23, 2007, in Europe, Australia, the Middle East, Africa and New Zealand. The system sold about 600,000 units in its first 2 days. On March 7, 2007, the 60GB PlayStation 3 launched in Singapore with a price of $799. The console was launched in South Korea on June 16, 2007, as a single version equipped with an 80GB hard drive and IPTV. PS3 Slim and console rebranding. Following speculation that Sony was working on the Slim model, Sony officially announced the PS3 Czech 2000 model on August 18, 2009, at the Sony Gamescom press conference. New features included a slimmer form factor, decreased power consumption, and a quieter cooling system. It was released in major territories by September 2009. As part of the release for the Slim model, the console logo ceased using the Spider-Man font and the capitalized PlayStation 3. It instead reverted to a more traditional PlayStation and PlayStation 2-like PlayStation 3 logo with PS3 imprinted on the console, along with the redesigning of the console and logo. The boot screen of all consoles changed from Sony Computer Entertainment to PS3 PlayStation 3, with a new chime and the Game Start splash screen being dropped. The cover art and packaging of games was also changed. Super Slim model. In September 2012 at the Tokyo Game Show, Sony announced that a new, slimmer PS3 redesign was due for release in late 2012 and that it would be available with either a 250GB or 500GB hard drive. 3 versions Super Slim model were revealed, one with a 500GB hard drive, a second with a 250GB hard drive which is not available in PAL regions, and a third with a 12GB flash storage that was only available in PAL regions. The storage of 12GB model is upgradable with an official standalone 250GB hard drive. A vertical stand was also released for the model. In the United Kingdom, the 500GB model was released on September 28, 2012, and the 12GB model was released on October 12, 2012. In the United States, the PS3 Super Slim was first released as a bundled console. The 250GB model was bundled with Game of the Year edition of Uncharted 3. Drake's Deception and released on September 25, 2012, and the 500GB model was bundled with Assassin's Creed 3 and released on October 30, 2012. In Japan, the black-colored Super Slim model was released on October 4, 2012, and the white-colored Super Slim model was released on November 22, 2012. The Super Slim model is 20% smaller and 25% lighter than the Slim model and features a manual sliding disc cover instead of a motorized slot loading disc cover of the Slim model. The white-colored Super Slim model was released in the United States on January 27, 2013 as part of the Instant Game Collection bundle. The garnet red and azurite blue-colored models were launched in Japan on February 28, 2013. The garnet red version was released in North America on March 12, 2013 as part of the God of War Ascension bundle with 500GB storage and contained God of War Ascension as well as the God of War Saga. The azurite blue model was released as a GameStop exclusive with 250GB storage. Games PlayStation 3 launched in North America with 14 titles, with another 3 being released before the end of 2006. After the first week of sales, it was confirmed that Resistance: Fall of Man from Insomniac Games was the top-selling launch game in North America. The game was heavily praised by numerous video game websites, including GameSpot and IGN, both of whom awarded it their PlayStation 3 Game of the Year award for 2006. Some titles missed the launch window and were delayed until early 2007, such as The Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion FEAR, and Sonic the Hedgehog. During the Japanese launch, Ridge Racer 7 was the top-selling game, while Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire also fared well in sales, both of which were offerings from Namco Bandai Games. PlayStation 3 launched in Europe with 24 titles, including ones that were not offered in North American and Japanese launches, such as Formula 1 Championship Edition, MotorStorm and Virtua Fighter 5. Resistance: Fall of Man and MotorStorm were the most successful titles of 2007, and both games subsequently received sequels in the form of Resistance 2 and MotorStorm: Pacific Rift. At E3 2007, Sony was able to show a number of their upcoming video games for PlayStation 3, including Heavenly Sword, Lair, Ratchet & Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, Warhawk and Uncharted: Drake's Fortune, all of which were released in the third and fourth quarters of 2007. They also showed off a number of titles that were set for release in 2008 and 2009, most notably Killzone 2 Infamous, Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, Little Big Planet and SOCOM, US Navy SEALs Confrontation. A number of third-party exclusives were also shown, including the highly anticipated Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, alongside other high-profile third-party titles such as Grand Theft Auto 4, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry 4 and Resident Evil 5. Two other important titles for PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy XIII and Final Fantasy Versus 13, were shown at TGS 2007 in order to appease the Japanese market. Sony have since launched their budget range of PlayStation 3 titles, known as the Greatest Hits range in North America, the Platinum range in Europe and Australia, and the Best range in Japan. Among the titles available in the budget range include Resistance: Fall of Man, MotorStorm, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, Rainbow Six Vegas, Call of Duty 3, Assassin's Creed and Ninja Gaiden Sigma. As of October 2009, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Ratchet & Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, Devil May Cry 4, Army of Two, Battlefield, Bad Company and Midnight Club. Los Angeles have also joined the list. As of March 31, 2012, there have been 595 million games sold for PlayStation 3 Stereoscopic 3D in December 2008. The CTO of Blitz Games announced that it would bring stereoscopic 3D gaming and movie viewing to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 with its own technology. This was first demonstrated publicly on PS3 using Sony's own technology in January 2009 at the Consumer Electronics Show. Journalists were shown Wipeout HD and Gran Turismo 5 Prologue in 3D as a demonstration of how the technology might work if it is implemented in the future. Firmware Update 3.30 officially allowed PS3 titles to be played in 3D, requiring a compatible display for use. System Software Update 3.50 prepared it for 3D films. While the game itself must be programmed to take advantage of the 3D technology, titles may be patched to add in the functionality retroactively. Titles with such patches include Wipeout HD, Pain, and Super Stardust HD. Hardware: PlayStation 3 is convex on its left side, with the PlayStation logo upright when vertical and has a glossy black finish. PlayStation designer Teru Goto stated that the Spider-Man font-inspired logo was one of the first elements SCEI president Ken Kutaragi decided on, and the logo may have been the motivating force behind the shape of PS3. On March 22, 2007, SC and Stanford University released the Folding at Home software for PlayStation 3. This program allows PS3 owners to lend the computing power of their consoles to help study the process of protein folding for disease research. Use in supercomputing. PS3's hardware has also been used to build supercomputers for high-performance computing. Fixstars Solutions sells a version of Yellow Dog Linux for PlayStation 3. RapidMind produced a stream programming package for PS3, but were acquired by Intel in 2009. Also, on January 3, 2007, Dr. Frank Mueller, Associate Professor of Computer Science at NCSU, clustered 8 PS3s. Mueller commented that the 256 megabytes of system RAM is a limitation for this particular application and is considering attempting to retrofit more RAM. Software includes Fedora Core 5 Linux PPC64, MPICH2, OpenMP v2.5, GNU Compiler Collection and Cell SDK 1.1. As a more cost-effective alternative to conventional supercomputers, the U.S. military has purchased clusters of PS3 units for research purposes. Retail PS3 Slim units cannot be used for supercomputing, because PS3 Slim lacks the ability to boot into a third-party OS. In November 2010, the Air Force Research Laboratory created a powerful supercomputer by connecting together 1,760 Sony PS3s, which include 168 separate graphical processing units and 84 coordinating servers in a parallel array capable of performing 500 trillion floating-point operations per second. As built, the Condor cluster was the 33rd largest supercomputer in the world and would be used to analyze high-definition satellite imagery. In December 2008, a group of hackers used a cluster of 200 PlayStation 3 computers to crack SSL authentication. Technical specifications: PlayStation 3 features a slot-loading 2x speed Blu-ray disc drive for games, Blu-ray movies, DVDs, CDs and other optical media. It was originally available with hard drives of 20 and 60 gigabytes, but various sizes up to 500 gigabytes have been made available since then. All PS3 models have user-upgradable 2.5 SATA hard drives. PlayStation 3 uses the Cell microprocessor, designed by Sony, Toshiba and IBM, as its CPU, which is made up of one 3.2 GHz PowerPC-based power processing element, and 8 synergistic processing elements. The 8th SP is disabled to improve chip yields. Only 6 of the 7 SPEs are accessible to developers, as the 7th SP is reserved by the console's operating system. Graphics processing is handled by the NVIDIA RSX Reality Synthesizer, which can produce resolutions from 480i, 576 ISD up to 1080p HD. PlayStation 3 has 256 megabytes of XDR DRAM main memory, and 256 megabytes of GDDR3 video memory for the RSX. The system has Bluetooth 2.0, Gigabit Ethernet, USB 2.0 and HDMI 1.4 built-in on all currently shipping models. Wi-Fi networking is also built-in on all but the 20 GB models, while a flash card reader is built-in on 60 GB and SetCheck's 80 GB models. PlayStation 3 has been produced in various models: the original, the Slim, and the Super Slim. Successive models have added or removed various features, controllers and accessories. Numerous accessories for the console have been developed. These accessories include the wireless 6-axis and DualShock 3 controllers, the Logitech Driving Force GT, the Logitech cordless precision controller, the BD remote, the PlayStation Eye camera, and the Play TV DVB-T tuner, digital video recorder accessory. At Sony's E3 press conference in 2006, the then standard wireless 6-axis controller was announced. The controller was based on the same basic design as the PlayStation 2's DualShock 2 controller but was wireless, lacked vibration capabilities, had a built-in accelerometer and had a few cosmetic tweaks. At its press conference at the 2007 Tokyo Game Show, Sony announced DualShock 3, a PlayStation 3 controller with the same function and design as 6-axis, but with vibration capability included. Hands-on accounts describe the controller as being noticeably heavier than the standard 6-axis controller and capable of vibration forces comparable to DualShock 2. It was released in Japan on November 11, 2007, in North America on April 5, 2008, in Australia on April 24, 2008, in New Zealand on May 9, 2008, in mainland Europe on July 2, 2008, and in the United Kingdom and Ireland on July 4, 2008. During E3 2009, Sony unveiled plans to release a motion controller later to be named PlayStation Move at GDC 2010. It was released on September 15, 2010, in Europe, September 19, 2010, in North America and October 21, 2010, in Japan. On October 13, 2010, Sony announced an official surround sound system for PS3 through the official PlayStation YouTube channel. The PlayStation 3 can also use DualShock 4 controller initially via USB cable, but firmware update 4.60 enabled wireless connection. Questions regarding reliability. According to Ars Technica, the number of PlayStation 3 consoles that have experienced failure is well within the normal failure rates in the consumer electronics industry. A 2009 study by SquareTrader, a warranty provider, found a 2-year failure rate of 10% for PlayStation 3s. In September 2009, BBC's Watchdog television program aired a report investigating the issue, calling it the yellow light of death. Among the consoles that experienced the failure, they found that it usually occurred 18 to 24 months after purchase, while the standard Sony warranty covers 1 year after purchase. After this time period, PlayStation 3 owners can pay Sony a fixed fee for a refurbished console. Sony claimed that, according to its statistics of returned consoles, approximately 0.5% of consoles were reported as showing the YLOD. In response to the televised report, Sony issued a document criticizing the program's accuracy and conclusions, specifically that the faults were evidence of a manufacturing defect. The document also complained that the report had been inappropriate in tone and might damage Sony's brand name.